Hi, this is Abigail Zoe L reporting for Kids First, and today I'm super excited because I'm at the Titmouse production office for T.O.T.S, Tiny One's Transport Service. I'm excited to do some interviews and learn more about the show, so here we go. Hi, and I'm with Travis Braun, who is the creator, writer, and co-executive producer for T.O.T.S, and I'm also with Vic Cook, who is the director and executive producer of T.O.T.S. What inspired you to create this cute, adorable animation show?
Yeah, well, so from my side of it, I grew up, I was, child of the 90s and would watch these cartoons, and almost always every cartoon at some point in the run of it would have a stork delivery, and it would have this sort of, white regal stork delivering baby animals or babies sometimes in those cases. And it made me think, like, why does it always have to be a white regal stork? Like, why don't other birds make these deliveries? So whether I really realized it or not, it's sort of the idea for Tots had been percolating for a while.
When I was approached about the show, that's when I first met Travis, and I was given an early script that he had written for the show in development, and it had a lot of heart, a lot of humor. It was so much fun, and it had this message of diversity in it, and so that's what hooked me and sold me on it, and that's why I'm on this show.
What is involved in putting together an episode, and how long does it take usually?
Ooh, that's a good question. There's so many different steps and so many different layers to actually completing an episode. I will speak from the writing standpoint. It's basically a 6 to 8 week process in terms of from starting initial concept of what is this episode going to be about to final script that we actually go into the booth and record with. So that's all the steps of the springboard, which is basically like a paragraph of what the episode is about, up to the next step is the premise, which is just a longer version of that, basically a page of the episode. That turns into an outline, more detailed, some dialogue, basically the rough bare bones of what the episode is, but just in prose, not actually written out in a script form. And that leads us to the first scripting stage, which is the first draft, and we do 3 drafts before we get to our table read. All the writers sit here in the room, we read the episodes together, give notes, do our sort of final polish pass, and then that's the draft that we record with. And Vic, I think
that's a lot that goes
it's
into it.
a lot for the scripting. And then Vic, you can talk about the other process.
Yeah, so after all of that, it goes to record. And about 1 or 2 weeks after record, it starts storyboard. So from record to getting our first color animation back, it's about a year. And we see it in steps. First, we see something called layout, which is for us to check the composition. And it's sort of like geometric. The characters don't really move, but you're seeing all the placement. And then once we say, yes, that's good, it goes to animation, grayscale animation. So it's not in color yet, but it's all the movement, lip movement, facial expressions, acting, and we get that as perfect as we can, because we can't really go back. You give those notes then, and when we give that the thumbs up, it'll go to color. And that's when we'll see the lighting and the textures and any effects. So if there's smoke or lightning or bubbles or things like that, we can fix that there. To get that color, like I said, it's a year. And then after that, we then start working on the sound part of it. So that we have a great composer named Rob Cantor. He writes songs for the shows, and he also works with his partners Greg and Greg, who do the musical score, where it helps push the emotion or the comedy of the scenes. And then we work with a sound effects designer to do the sound effects. And that's the process of putting it all together. About a year from
Wow.
record to there, plus the time Travis said to write.
That's a lot. And what's your favorite episode you guys have worked on so far?
Whew, that's a tough question because I love them all. But I would say in terms of the babies that we've delivered, my favorite is the sloth. It moves so slow, and it's cute and adorable and funny, but I also just really relate to the sloth. I feel like there's something something really meditative about the sloth and the way that it just kind of, it's in no rush to get anywhere. I feel like we're in such a rush these days that it's fun to see. Yeah. It's fun to see an animal that's just kind of like taking it easy. What about you, Vic?
I like Cheetah Chase because he's super fast. I have the complete opposite answer. Travis, super fast. It's so fun to see this guy buzzing around T.O.T.S headquarters. It's amazing, and the sound effects that go with it are great too. But I got to say, when we're watching the show, we all have different reasons why different episodes are our favorites, and I've been also drawn to the ones that show different sort of environments and weather. Like Snow Cool is amazing, the snow environment, and the faraway forest. It's amazing to see all these different places.
And what is the moral of the show T.O.T.S?
For me, the big part of T.O.T.S is teamwork. Pip can't fly, so he needs Freddy to be able to fly, and Freddy can't navigate. He's always getting lost, so he needs Pip to help him find the way. So for me, the big part in sort of engineering the show was that it really does take both of them, and that we are sort of stronger together and working together. It's important to work together, and Pip and Freddy have this saying that they use a lot, which is that anything is possible when we do it together. And I feel like there's no better time to hear that message, because you really can do a lot when you put your heads together.
I think another theme for me is you can achieve your dreams no matter what. I mean, the birds that are most known for delivering babies all over the world have been storks. Yeah. T.O.T.S has been all storks, and Freddy and Pip are not storks, and they did not let that hold them back for pursuing their dream. So I think that's the other theme.
And what's been the biggest surprise in working on T.O.T.S so far?
Ooh, biggest surprise. That's a good one. I think the thing that I keep coming back to is that you go into, when making any show, you go into sort of this preconceived idea before it's even a thing, where you have a vision of what it is going to ultimately look like. And the thing that continually surprises me is how transportive the show is. I had this idea of what it would be, but watching it's surpassed all of those expectations. The job that our animation studio Icon has been able to do, our composer, who Vic alluded to, Rob, with the music, from the sound effects to the writing and the character design, it all works together so well that you believe that this world exists, this world of T.O.T.S.
Yeah, I completely agree with Travis. And, working on a show like this with Disney Junior, I knew the animation was going to be really good. But you asked what surprised me the most. I knew it was going to be really good. I didn't realize it was going to be this great. The level of detail of the rigging that our animation studio has put into these characters to give them that squash and stretch, the classic Disney squash and stretch that you've seen over the years in different features, to see that in CG is amazing. So that was very pleasantly surprising for me to see it come out so well.
And what's been the biggest challenge working on T.O.T.S so far?
I would say the biggest challenge is coordinating everything, because we are all over the world. The writing happens here in LA, the pre-production happens in New York at our studio there. The actual animation happens in, at our studio in Icon in Vancouver. So it really is, sort of this triangle of, we're all working on the same thing, but we're all across the world. Wow. And that's a tricky thing to coordinate and to get everyone on the same page. And, from complicated things like getting, physically sharing work and files and things like that, to just like time zones and not realizing that there's conference calls that are set up are inconvenient for people in New York, and just getting everyone on the same page has been one of the challenges.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And we live in a time where that's possible, with Skype and all these other ways of talking. I meet with the designers and the directors like 2 to 3 times a week via Skype. And that's how we get it done. That's probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah, we could not do this show without technology.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you guys.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thanks for coming.
I had a blast. Hi, and I'm with JJ, who is the character designer of T.O.T.S, and he's going to be showing me how he draws one of the cute little pandas. So, how do you come up with all these cute ideas for the sketches?
Well, I get a script and I go through the script, and it usually has a description of the character, and then I work from that.
That's really cool. So, can you show me how you draw it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, this is how you draw Precious the panda.
Okay.
So his head shape is kind of like a gumdrop. And then put a center line here and divide it so I know where to place the eyes. Tiny little eyebrows. And then his body is kind of like a cylinder or a bean shape. And he's got these really short little legs. All the characters, as far as the baby animals go in this show, they all have diapers on and a collar. So just gotta add that.
So cute.
And can't forget the ears up here. And this character is actually a girl. So most of the female characters I give eyelashes to, just to differentiate them a little bit. And she's got these heart-shaped markings around her eyes.
Do you zoom in so it's easier to fill in it a little bit?
Yeah, it lets me get a little more technical with the drawing.
That's great.
Just erase some of these lines here.
It's great that you have markings for the lines to keep everything in place.
It makes it a lot easier to see it more three-dimensionally. Sketch of Precious the panda.
Wow, that is so cute. I like how it's so real and animated, and it looks like she's actually stepping out, and it's three-dimensional. Looks really cool.
Thank you.
Hold on, it's all right. You can sit there.
Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Hi, this is Abigail Zoe Lewis, reporting for Kids First, and I had such a fun time at the production center and interviewing Travis, Braun, Vic Cook, and JJ, and learning more about how they make T.O.T.S. Make sure to check out T.O.T.S. It comes out June 14th on Disney Channel. You definitely don't want to miss it. This is Abigail Zoe Lewis, reporting for Kids First. Bye.
Watch T.O.T.S on Disney Channel.